Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, today we're going to continue our new topic, which the topic is periods of development. So basically, the interplay of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes produce the periods of human lifespan. So the interplay here means the interrelation or interconnection between biological, between cognitive and socio-emotional process produce the period of human life. A developmental period refers to a time frame in a person's life that is characterized by certain features. For the purpose of organization and understanding, we commonly describe development in terms of this period. The most widely used classification of developmental periods involve the 8-period consequence. So altogether, there are 8 periods in human lifespan. Dalam sepanjang hidup manusia, dia terbahagi kepada 8 periods. Right? So approximate age ranges are listed for the periods to provide a general idea of when a periods begin and end. Jadi setiap period daripada 8 period manusia bermula sampai period ke-8 which the human life ends. Setiap period dia ada approximate age. Approximate age mean the range of age, the average age. Dia tak sebut secara tepat. Period 1 mesti start dengan berapa tahun, habis berapa tahun. Setiap period they will have their own average age, or we use the term approximate age. Anggaran. Approximate ni anggaran umur. Alright. So let us begin 8 periods. So that 8 periods begin with the first period. We call it prenatal period. So apa tu prenatal period? Prenatal period is the time from conception to birth. Daripada proses persenyawaan sehinggalah proses kelahiran. Itu kita panggil prenatal period. Or another term we can use pregnancy period. But the exact term we use in developmentalist study, we call it prenatal period. So prenatal period, it involves tremendous growth from a single cell to an organism complete with brain and behavioral capabilities. It takes place in approximately a 9 months period. Jadi proses prenatal mengambil masa approximately anggaran 9 bulan. Bukan secara tepat anggaran. Jadi secara normal, in normal situation, a mother will taking care of their pregnancy stage, or a baby will grow inside the womb of the mother around 9 months. Of course, there are babies who are delivered earlier than that time. Ada yang 8 bulan, ada yang 7 bulan, yang premature, yang kelahiran pramatang, kelahiran yang sebelum dilahirkan, sebelum bayi matang, kita panggil premature, tak sampai 9 bulan. Some of us, some of you are premature baby before, but alhamdulillah now you are developed well. So that is the first period, we call it prenatal period. And then secondly, we move to infancy. Infancy is the developmental period from birth to 18 or 24 months. Infancy is a time of extreme dependence upon adults. Infancy is a time of extreme dependence upon adults. Means a baby or infancy, another term we can call it as a baby. So baby, they are totally dependent or totally depending on adults. Adults refer to their parents. It can be mother, father, both of them. Or for those who don't have a parents, they're depending on adults. Adults can be their grandma, grandpa, or their uncles, as long as they are categorized on the age of adult. So means they are depending on the existing of the adults. Means they need to rely on adults' help. They unable to do things by themselves. So during this period, many psychological activities or language activities or symbolic thought or sensory motor coordination or social learning, for example, are just beginning. So during infancy stage, yang pertama, poin yang penting adalah baby sangat bergantung kepada orang dewasa untuk melakukan activities, for example, untuk survival, untuk hidup. So without adults, they might end up with dying. Makan, minum, uruskan hal-hal keseluruhannya. That's why baby are extremely depending. They need adults. Dia perlukan penjagaan secara total. And then during this infancy period also, all activities, psychological activities, for example, language ke, semua dalam peringkat beginning, permulaan. Dia baru nak mula bercakap dalam stage. Kalau language development, early stage, we call it a cooing, a bubbling, baru start nak bunyi. Ba, 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 ma, 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 ma. So dalam beginning stage, symbolic thought, cara nak berfikir. Baby dalam peringkat awal, dia tak boleh fikir lagi bagaimana nak makan apa. So in a beginning stage. So same goes sensory motor coordination. Sensory motor refer to a movement coordination. Sensory refer to using all the sensory organs. Apa tu? Kita ada 5 senses kan? So means all in the beginning stage. And then social learning. They learn to socialize. Socialize means interact, communicate with the surroundings, with the parents, with the siblings, with the people around them. So all these social learning are beginning stage. So far, in this page, we cover 2 periods. The first period of human development is prenatal period, okay, which start from conception. Dia punya approximate time, tempohnya bermula daripada conception. Conception means persenyawaan sperma dan ovum. Itu prenatal period, sampailah proses membesar dalam perut ibu sehingga proses kelahiran. That we call it the first period, or we use the term prenatal period. And then second period, or period number 2, infancy. The moment the baby born, or the moment the baby been delivered, until the age of 24 months, okay, or 18 months, setahun ataupun 2 tahun, we call that period infancy. infant. Alright? Okay, we move to the next period. Early childhood period. This is period number 3. Early childhood. So what is early childhood? Is the developmental period from the end of infancy to age 5 or 6. So dia bermula ketika selepas tempoh infancy. Infancy until 24 months means after that, after 24, 23, 25 tu dah masuk period early childhood. So early childhood ni sampai umur berapa tahun? Until age of 5 or 6. So this period is sometimes called the preschool years. Kadang-kadang kita panggil period ni selain daripada early childhood, dia juga dikenali sebagai usia prasekolah. Why they call it preschool? Because some children at some places or some country, they begin to enter a preschool as early as 3 years old. After infancy kan 2 tahun, after infancy kan dah 3 tahun. So some children they enter preschool years as early as 3 years old. And nowadays 4 years old become common. Either in Malaysia or any other places, they begin at 4. 5, sometimes they are considered late. Some places. 6, of course, lagi lah. So that's why sometimes some preschoolers or preschool years, they begin at 3, 4, 5, and 6. So early childhood period, they also call preschool years. So finish about period number 3. And then after early childhood, so they move to the next period we call middle and late childhood. So what is middle and late childhood? So middle and late childhood is the developmental period from about 6 to 11 years of age, approximately corresponding to the elementary school years. So normally middle childhood or late childhood, so we refer to elementary school. So some other countries, they call it elementary, or they call it primary. Primary school, secondary school, right? Sekolah rendah. So during this period, the fundamental skills of reading or writing or arithmetic are mastered. Asas pembelajaran seperti membaca, menulis, mengira, semua dah dikuasai semasa prasekolah ataupun dalam stage early childhood. So bila masuk middle or late childhood, masuk arena ataupun sekolah rendah, so kebiasaannya kanak-kanak dah boleh menguasai membaca, dah boleh menulis dan mengira, bersedia untuk alam persekolahan, sekolah rendah. The child is formally exposed to the larger world and its culture. Achievement becomes a more central theme of the child's world and self-control increases. So normally at middle or late childhood, di alam persekolahan, grade 1 until grade 6, ataupun some in Malaysia we call it standard 1, standard 2, standard 3, standard 4, standard 5, standard 6. In Malay we call it darjah 1 sampai darjah 6. So at this period, normally achievement, pencapaian dah menjadi faktor utama ataupun menjadi maksud tujuan penilaian. Right? And then self-control increase. At this period, kanak-kanak mula untuk mempunyai kelebihan ataupun kemampuan pengawalan diri, self control. Alright, because when they start to go to primary school, they're able to be less dependent and they become more independent. Dah boleh melakukan perkara dengan sendiri, pergi toilet sendiri, pergi kantin, dah boleh makan, and then dah boleh menguruskan diri, keluarkan buku, buat homework. All this we call it self control. So that is for middle and late childhood. Right. So basically, our subject or our course, DCE, Diploma in Early Childhood Education, we cover the period from prenatal period until early childhood only. Kajian mendalam kita untuk course DCE adalah daripada prenatal age sehinggalah early childhood. So kita tak cover middle and late childhood. Tapi kalau you nak pursue study later on in developmentalist area, study about human in psychology, you will cover the whole lifespan. Okay, the 8 periods. So for beginning, untuk pemahaman untuk topik ni, so kita akan cover ataupun kita akan kenal apakah itu ke-8 period. Okay, we finish for middle and late childhood. Now we move to the next period. We call it adolescent. So adolescent, bahasa mudahnya remaja lah, teenagers. Adolescent is a developmental period of transition from childhood to early adulthood. Proses pertukaran. Okay, from childhood, daripada alam kanak-kanak ke alam dewasa. Dia pra dewasa. Kalau dia ada pra kanak-kanak, dia pun ada pra dewasa. Sebelum dia move kepada alam dewasa, dia adalah perantaraan daripada kanak-kanak ke dewasa. So tengah-tengah tu kita panggil adolescent, remaja. So approximate age, berapakah anggaran ataupun lingkungan umur adolescent ni? So they enter this stage, dia memasuki alam remaja ataupun alam adolescent at early as 10 to 12 years, seawal umur 10 sehingga 12 tahun, ataupun kita panggil darjah 4, dah bermula remaja. Kebanyakan kita boleh lihat pada perempuan ataupun kanak-kanak perempuan. Their puberty age would be as early as 10. Remaja ni usia balik lah. Dia dah mula menonjolkan sifat-sifat ataupun ciri-ciri perempuan dan ciri-ciri lelaki. Ada yang balik pada seawal usia 10, 11, 12. Okay. So the moment dia mula balik, dia dah mencapai memasuki alam remaja, adolescent. And it will ending at the age of 18 to 21 years old. Dia berakhir sehingga umur 18 ataupun 21 tahun. So now, if you guys, your age now is 18 or 19, so means you are in the stage of adolescent. So adolescent begin with the rapid physical changes. Remaja bermula dengan perubahan fizikal yang sangat rapid. Rapid ni apa? Perubahan drastik. So dramatic gains in height. Tiba-tiba dah jadi tinggi. Beza dengan kanak-kanak. Right? Alam remaja. Sebab hormon sangat aktif dikeluarkan untuk menonjolkan ciri-ciri kelakian dan kewanitaan, keperempuanan. So dramatic gains in height and weight, perubahan tinggi, perubahan berat. changes in body contour, perubahan dari segi ciri-ciri badan, and the development of sexual characteristics such as enlargement of breast. Perkembangan anggota seksual. Contohnya enlargement of breast, growth of pubic and facial hair. So enlargement of breast and growth of pubic, they happen to boys and girls. Teenagers for girls and boys. Facial hair and deepening of the voice normally happen only for boys. Boys becoming a man. Perubahan di wajah, dah ada janggut, dah ada misai, suara dah garau, dah tebal. Ini adalah ciri-ciri tanda-tanda bermulanya alam remaja. At this point in development, the pursuit of independence and the identity are prominent. Pada usia ni, remaja, they start to become independent. They don't like to be dependent on the parents. Dia tak suka dah terkait bergantung, anak manja, dia tak selesa dah. Right? Normally they start, or they project themselves, I'm independent, I can do by myself. Dan kita boleh nampak dia mula dah menunjukkan identiti masing-masing. Though thought is more logical. Cara pemikiran lebih logik, lebih abstrak, lebih idealistic. More time is spent outside the family. So kebergantungan, the dependency, the connection between adolescent with parent makin berkurang. Secara psikologinya, hubungan ataupun the closeness with parents or family is reduced. Banyak masa dihabiskan bersama dengan selain family, normally kawan-kawan. So this is natural process yang berlaku pada usia adolescent. Okay, finish. So at this page we cover early childhood, middle and late childhood, adolescent. So dah period yang ketiga, keempat dan kelima. And this page will cover the last 8 period. Okay. Period ke-6, ke-7 dan ke-8. So period ke-6 adalah early adulthood. Early adulthood is the developmental period that begins in early 20s and lasts through the 30s. Awal dewasa bermula ketika usia 20-an sehingga 30-an. Dia boleh ke 33, 34 hingga 35 tu early adulthood. It is a time of establishing personal and economic dependence. Inilah usia kita nak establish, bermula membina ekonomi, menjana pendapatan. Masa ni lah dah habis belajar, dah grad, dah start nak kerja. Ni bila masuk alam pekerjaan, bermulalah alam awal dewasa, early adulthood. And then bermulalah mencari career, pekerjaan, and for many selecting a mate. Dan kebanyakan usia 20 ke 30-an or early adulthood, you are selecting a mate, mencari-cari pasangan hidup, which later on will become your spouse, your husband and your wife. Learning to live with someone in intimate way. You akan mula hidup berkahwin. Intimate ni berkahwin. Kenapa? Bila you berkahwin, you akan memulakan keluarga you sendiri, keluarga kecil. Suami isteri dan seorang anak. Suami isteri dan 2 orang anak. Itu starting a family. And rearing a children. So this age, this period, we call it early adulthood. And then move. Middle adulthood. Middle adulthood is the developmental period from approximately 40 years of age. Jadi usia pertengahan dewasa ini bermula hujung 30-an ataupun 40-an until 60, sehinggalah usia 60-an. Ini kita panggil middle adulthood. alam dewasa pertengahan. It is a time of expanding personal and social involvement and responsibility, of assisting the next generation in becoming competent, mature individuals, and reaching and maintaining satisfaction in career. So inilah waktunya kita nak expand personal and social involvement. Mula bergiat aktif dengan sosial, dengan masyarakat. Pada waktu ni you mengambil berat tentang responsibility, tanggungjawab, membantu generasi untuk menjadi lebih matang. Okay, reaching and maintaining satisfaction in career. At this age, career you dah establish. You mencari kepuasan. You ada focus on your career, tak bertukar-tukar dah. So this is middle adulthood. And then last stage or last period, we call it late adulthood. Late adulthood is the development period that begins in the 60s or 70s. Bermula 60 ke 70. Ini kita panggil late lah. Lewat lah. Ataupun kita panggil old age. And last until death. Late adulthood ni bermula daripada 60 umur pencen sehinggalah mati. It is a time of life review. Inilah waktunya untuk kita melihat, merenung kembali, life review, retirement, pencen, ini umur pencen, late adulthood, an adjustment to a new social roles involving decreasing strength and health. At this stage or this period, we make an adjustment, sama ada untuk adjust kepada tahap kesihatan kekuatan. So this age 60 to 70 sampai mati. Mati tu usia berapa tahun? That's why some experts says, ada kajian mengatakan late adulthood has the longest span of any period. Late adulthood adalah tempoh yang paling panjang berbanding period-period yang lain. Kenapa? Sebab kajian menunjukkan the number of people in this age group has been increasing dramatically. As a result, lifespan developmentalists have been paying more attention to differences within the late adulthood. And some studies found that the older adults live as they become the old on average at about 85 years of age. Average dalam usia late adulthood ni adalah 85 tahun. Average means dia boleh lebih lagi, ada sampai 90 tahun. Kita punya Prime Minister Tun Mahathir berapa? 93, 94, they can give 95. So that's why they call it longest. Daripada 60 sampai 80 sehingga 90. Berapa tahun tu? 30 tahun tempoh late adulthood. Middle adulthood pun lebih kurang 20 tahun. Early adulthood lebih kurang 10 tahun ke 15 tahun. So that's why they call it late adulthood, among the longest. Bergantunglah dia hidup berapa lama sampai mati. Kalau usianya 65 ke 70. So in Islam, Rasulullah beritahu pun usia tua ataupun late adulthood ni sehingga usia 60 ke 70. But statistic shows that nowadays old age ni ramai golongan ni. Dia tak mati. Usia panjang lah, Allah panjangkan usia. Jadi maintenance dia untuk penjagaan, sebab dia tak fit macam period-period yang lain. So that's all together related to 8 periods of lifespan. Bermula daripada prenatal period, infancy period, early childhood period, middle and late childhood period, adolescent, early adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. Okay, so that's all for part 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.